Alright, look, this is all just information so you might understand how it works. Don't go burning stuff. Doesn't need to be burnt, like the house or the garage or the shed or the woods or yourself. Use your BRANE. Alright, let's get back into it. Fellas, this is an oil lamp. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Pretty simple. Come on. Or not. Fine. We'll do it that way. Oil lamps. Very basic stuff. It's oil. It's lamp oil. You can buy it at Walmart, Target, all the normal scumbags. It is basically a wick. The wick is cotton. Can be made out of all kinds of different things. Sometimes they put a wire up through there and make it nice and stiff, but it's just a piece of cotton. It could be a piece of cotton rope. It could be a piece of cotton t-shirt. Could be anything. It's a container, just a metal container, wick. It grabs the oil and it wicks it up. If you ever take a paper towel and dip it in a puddle of something, you'll watch it wick up through the paper towel. Wicking action. That's why it's called a wick. Sometimes it's even called a lamp wick. Makes sense. Here's what we're going to do. This is the most basic of all. I'm going to pour a little bit of that in there. I'm going to get that in there. We're going to let that start soaking. See if it wicks up some fluid. There we go. Oil lamp. This one has never been burnt, if you notice, and it's actually quite dirty. It's been sitting around. I use this as an example. I kind of teach with this every once in a while. It's never been burnt. That way I can tip it around and not spill the oil. These lamps, these hurricane lamps, I call them hurricane lamps because the wind can hit them and it won't blow them out. I'm not saying you can use them in a hurricane, but they won't blow out as easy. They are very basic, and they all work about the same. I picked this up at Walmart, I don't know, $9. They may look decorative. A lot of people have them as decorations, but they actually work. These tubes actually carry air. The air is warmed as it brings the fuel up, and it burns cleaner air. It's just by design. There's better videos out there to show you how that works. I'm going to show you how to use it. That's a cap with a little chain so you don't lose it. There's a rubber gasket in there. Don't lose the rubber gasket. This whole bottom part is a tank that holds the fluid. It is for lamp oil and lamp oil only. Don't be putting gasoline or kerosene. Lamp oil. That's what it burns. You don't have to fill it all the way up. It needs some. It doesn't need to be filled all the way up. Now, it has a funny little handle that lifts. Come on, baby. There we go. That lifts it up and down. If you notice, it has a notch over here. So you can lift that up and push it over, and it stays in the notch. It stays up. That's so you can get a match in there and light it. This little cranker jobby raises the wick up and down. Here's the two important things. Don't be raising the wick all the way up. Don't be taking the wick all the way down and letting it drop into the tank, because then you got to take it apart and get your hands all oily and it's a pain in the butt. It moves very slowly. You should always be able to see that wick. When it's not being burnt, the wick should be up so you can see it. Whenever you go to light it, you take it down a little bit. It's always going to be wet with the fluid. This fluid does evaporate. So these can sit around for years and years and years, but it does evaporate. Matter of fact, another version that a lot of people are familiar with. I do want to show you how this one works also. That takes a globe. Let that soak up while we're talking. Exact same principle. The wick goes up, the wick goes down. It soaks the fluid up through the wick. Because the fire is up here, fire don't generally burn down. It won't like this. Lamp oil is not volatile. Volatile meaning like gasoline where it explodes. Lamp oil is very low on the volatility scale. Things like gasoline, like white gas, Coleman gas, very volatile. Don't be starting fires with that stuff. And boom, big. So here we go. A lot of times the globes need to be cleaned, and this piece right here will raise up and down. I like to raise it and hold it with my hand, and this will tip out. It'll tip one way or the other. Tip this way. There we go. It tips out. You can let go of that, and the globe will come out. This will break. Don't go dropping it. And you can see it's very dirty. You would clean this. You can also remove. You're going to come out. You can also remove. Painted right in there, aren't you? Cover. The part that holds the wick. Turns it right up and down. That's all it does. So if you drop it all the way down, it falls, then you got to feed it back in. A lamp wick. This is flat wick. Comes in different widths. You can also get it round. That goes down into the tank. Am I doing this wrong? Am I messing this up? Probably. There we go. That's back in. We can take our globe, put it back in there. No, I did not clean it. Make sure it's seated. This up, hold it. Spring loaded. Da-da-da. There we go. Wick goes up, wick goes down. Fluid in the bottom, fire in the top. This does get hot. So all will get hot because you got a flame in there. Handle to carry it. Now, much larger one, they all operate the same way. Pull up on the top, and you can get it backwards every time. Pull up on the top, you can tip the globe out to clean it. This one is a Dietz brand. A lot of times you can get replacement globes if you break them. Sometimes the lamps are cheap enough to buy them at Walmart. Exact same thing. This thing is just holds a larger volume and has a larger volume for flame, a larger wick, if you will. Doesn't put out a whole lot of extra light, but let's light it up. So to light it, you would pull that up and give it a little touch. Doesn't take much. Drop that back down. Oh boy, big flame. It's out of control. That needs to be brought way down and got under control, almost until it goes out. And then you can bring it up a little bit. And it puts out a beautiful flame. Puts out lots of light. And when you've got nothing, this is great. When the electricity is out, this is great. This will burn all night long. No batteries are recharged. This can sit around for years and years and years and years. That fluid will evaporate some, but not as much as you would think. Pull it up, give it a match, you're off to the races. If you raise that up too much, or if you get that wick above, there you go, above that little metal piece, you get that wick above it, it will burn dirty. Oh, look how much light, blah, blah, blah. Look at all the soot, all the black coming off of that. It also burns up the fuel way too quick. Makes this all black, and then you can't see anything. Bad light. Clean globes put off more light. So to extinguish, you take it down, all the way down, until you can barely see that flame, and let it smother or raise it up and give it a puff. I don't know. Sometimes you'll end up with this little bit of charcoal on the end of that wick that just wants to smolder. We're going to leave that alone for right now. So, oil lamps. Again, exact same thinking. Fluid, wick, globe. These things are, there's a science behind how the flame is here and it chokes it down and makes it clean, nice, clean burning. That's good. Give that a little flame. Oh, you can see how filthy that's burning. That flame needs to be down. I'm gonna put this back on. Don't go messing around holding this too long, because that flame will get this glass hot. Once it starts burning, that will get hot. You don't want to mess with it. You always want to grab it down here. You always don't want to kick them over either. Let's see how bright we can get that. You start getting it bright, but it starts burning dirty. A little bit of flame is enough in a dark room. It's still daylight. I'm not going to show you what a dark room looks like. The maintenance on this is keep fluid in it. Make sure you got wick. Once a year, take your globes and clean them. Clean them by hand. They don't have to go through a dishwasher or anything special. All right. Let's see if this thing is wet enough yet. It is. I got a ton of wick sticking out. And it is burning out of control. But this is basically just showing you how basic this is. That extra piece of wick is actually soaked up some oil. It might burn. Oh, you got two, but you can see all the soot coming off of it. But it's oil thing. Very basic. You can do this with a piece of cotton t-shirt and a container. It'll burn just as ugly, but you still will have light. Some light is better than no light. The rules of fire: if it doesn't have oxygen, it can't burn. A lot of people don't realize your Zippo lighter works the exact same way. Inside is a wick. In the bottom is cotton that absorbs, actually Zippo fluid. It's a little more volatile than lamp fluid. But the cotton soaks it up, soaks up the wick. The wick is wet. When you spark, the wick catches flame. This all is contained. It was the best thing that they had before they invented a Bic. Bics don't leak. They don't need refilled. And look, it's out. It's out cold. Put it in your pocket. Zippos were not hermetically sealed to hold in all that fluid, so the fluid would come out in your pocket. It would stain your clothes. It would could give you a chemical burn on your leg from the fluid being that fluid being up against your skin. They called it a Zippo burn. It wasn't actually a hot burn, but it was a chemical burn. It was the best thing that they had at the time before they invented the Bic. But a Zippo is the exact same thing as this. There's a container with fluid. There's a wick. You put spark or flame to it, and it burns. This has a little bit of a chimney, so it burns a little better. And there you go. That's how these work. I'm a firm believer that every homeowner should have one of these laying around. One of these or one of these. Just go to your local hardware store or anybody. Walmart, Target, all these guys. If you look at it, you'll be able to tell if it's real live. And you're ready for when the power goes out. Cool. Turn that down. Cool. There you go. A little information. Hopefully that helps you.